you for thank you for the uncensored version of this. I'm actually off the screen, so I hope this thing is still there. Are we still here?
Yeah, I see you.
Okay, cool, good, because I am unviewable on my own screen, as are you. Whoa, there's my own uncensored version of this volume in the background. There it is. Okay, cool.
The
So
happy
that's going to be going
exception.
in the background. I know, right? And so that's going to play in the background. I'm going to come back on the screen. Let me find y'all. Where, oh, boom, there we are. Okay, thank you. Everybody out there, there's going to be some people scrolling in on YouTube. And so everybody else in here, all 30 people, thank you for being a part of this discussion over the past, 48 minutes or so. There's always some people on YouTube that are like, you're supposed to be here earlier. Thank you. Sorry, you guys. You'll know we're always like the timeline's getting started. The DeLorean is, we're parking. And so for the past about 40 minutes or so, everybody, we've been going through a little bit of an uncensored discussion with Eric Rains, talking a little bit about some of the things we can't talk on YouTube and publicly, primarily about you guys know what it is, the induction of the viral operating system into the human body. And so we've been talking a little bit about that one. For those of you guys that want to track back later on and check out that part of the discussion, you can find us on Patreon at the Blue Flame Collective. And so just Google that later on. We'll put links in the chat. But now that we are public, here we are. We are public in this moment. Eric, have you noticed anything just about people activating right now, people coming into this work, people starting to work as practitioners, opening up their intuitive abilities? What we've seen over the past couple of years is just this massive awakening of new multidimensional beings. And so we're starting out the public portion of this and saying, after you working in this field, for several years now, and looking back, what would you want people to know who are just coming in here? It could be a specific thing, could be a general thing, it could be a random thing. What would you want to tell the new versions of you activating on the multidimensional plane?
There are two things coming through really strong, and one of them, like if you've ever followed anything that I've ever done, this comes up pretty quickly, pretty often, pretty quickly, fairly often. The simple fact that you exist means that you deserve to exist. And if it wasn't for the fact that you do exist, you wouldn't deserve it. And this is the way that the universe works. And so the simple fact that we're even here means that not only are we worthy of existence, but that we deserve the abundance of the universe because we are a reflection of that. And that's something that comes up fairly often. But the next thing, especially for new people, when I started doing this work, it was all an internal exploration. It was 100% I felt something and I wanted to feel more. So I dove in with my meditation, with my energy work, with my movement, and I had such a powerful activation that I saw stuff on the outside and my attention shifted to the outside. Um, One of the most important things that I have ever learned through this journey is that it's never about the outside. You need to be able to pay attention to the outside, but if there's something going on out there that you don't enjoy, what's on the inside that's resonating that exact same frequency? Pay attention to the internal process and keep working with that internal process. Stop paying attention to what's on the outside. Recognize that it's out there and use that to navigate where you go internally, but keep everything an internal activation and an internal exploration. And that's what propels this forward.
Yeah, oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you. Here's get ready for an even weirder question. And also I want to say hello to everybody on YouTube. I see you guys out there. We were a little bit late getting in here. We've been having a little bit of an uncensored discussion, and now we're also gonna be taking some questions from people in the chat. This is just part of a semi-exclusive, semi-public thing that we were doing with our Patreon group this month. And so we're just answering some questions, me and Eric Rains, for the next few minutes, and we're going to do a little bit of energy work with the group. So this is a good time for people to throw out questions, especially if you're starting to do this sort of work. One of the really cool things about our YouTube channel is it seems to organically attract people that are stepping into this. And as one of the people, once again, that's been doing this for a while, what sort of changes have you noticed within, this is such a, get ready for a huge can of worms question, sorry.
Let's
um,
do it.
I will kind of preface this in this way. A few years ago, you and I, other people, you a lot longer before it was a lot the stuff about implants. There was a lot of stuff about entities. There was the constant sort of battling. And, a lot of people still come to me and they're like, I'm constantly getting implanted. Every time I hear this voice or every time I see this image, I'm implanted. And so in the beginning, that was a very real aspect of our journey. We begin to sort of label and understand the dimensional structures within the body in, different ways. They begin to change and form. And oh, there we go. I heard some background noise there. As a person who does this every day, what have you noticed about how those constructs or those darker manifestations have changed? Have they changed? What is that like? Go ahead.
They really haven't changed much from my awareness, but my awareness has changed. And so I have a much more full spectrum of understanding of where, what, why, how. And so no, it's no longer like, again, like I said, the things on the outside, it became, well, what is the internal process? Why is this here? And so for like, say, for instance, an etheric entity that's negatively oriented, one of the things that it'll do is it will find something that it can detect as food, as fuel. And it will go there and cultivate it and make it bigger and make it stronger. It's like, you trying to make a bush, grow more berries because you're hungry and you're trying to, provide. And like, it's the same type of a thing. It's just that they're ignorant to everything that is of the light or even on the neutral spectrum. Because if we have a shadow, this means that in order for that shadow to be cast, there has to be something blocking that light in order to cast that shadow. And so if there's something organically born inside of that shadow, there's something in the way. It can't see the light. It A, doesn't understand it, and B, can't even recognize it because it's outside of its spectrum of awareness. It's like us trying to see ultraviolet. We can use machines to do that, but they, like they're all organic, it's all energy and there's nothing mechanical about it. It's all skill based. And their detection levels are very, very small. And so they're very good at detecting what they can detect, which is things that feel crappy, things that don't feel good, like that moment in the past that hurts when you think about it. But if we stop the fight and if we look at these things as what they are, things that are separated from source and having a really, really rough time because all they can feed on is hatred and fear and, disgusting sensations, then we start to step out of the space of the warrior and into the healer. And me personally, if I were one of these entities and I didn't even know what gratitude or happiness or empathy felt like, I'd give anything for somebody to show me. And so what I do now is I walk people through how to A, recognize, yeah, you're most likely being, quote, attacked by something, but it doesn't even really recognize that you're there. It's starving, it's desperate, you're in the way. Of course, it's going to try to get to that food. What is the food? What is inside of you that hurts? What is this trying to feed upon? Let's use this as a gift. It's showing us right where the darkness is stuck inside of you. Let's clean that darkness out. And then suddenly this thing that's been sitting there holding on to, my precious, that it's gone. And it's got nothing to hold on to. And from there, it's really easy to like, come on, guy, let's go over here. This is what light looks like. This is what joy feels like. And not even the dark guys want to stay in the dark. Like as soon as they feel what they're fighting against, they're like, I'm out. This is the most stupidest thing ever. I can't believe I was fighting this. I'm going to go heal. And then they go. Yeah. And it's still the same systems. They're very, very brutal if you're stuck inside of only darkness and you don't know how to detect light. But all I do nowadays is I walk people through how to create light on a mental, a physical, and an emotional level, and then find the spaces that are hurt inside of them. Yeah. And what they do is when they relax and let this go, they'll feel these big chunks that drop out of them, and then they start lifting and feel more open and lighter. And then at the end of it, I'll be like, hey, do you recognize like those heavy things that you were dropping right there? And they're like, yeah, that was like the craziest thing. It was like little chunks of clay or something. It's like, oh, that was an implant. Or, oh, that was an anchor point for an entity. You didn't even have to fight it. It just fell out because you weren't focusing on it. You were focusing on the platform that it was basing itself on. So, that's pretty much the major change that has happened with all of this. And we understand these systems a heck of a lot more now. We've mapped them out quite a bit. But honestly, it was kind of a waste of time. We didn't need to map it out because it was the core that we needed to go to anyway. And that's where I've been with this.
That's a good way to explain it. It's almost like there's consciousness gateways that we go through during the process of discovery of self. And at certain stages, it is a battle. And that's because at certain stages, it's appropriate for it to be a battle, because that's the catalyst that we will need to get through the thing that we would need to go through. And for some people, they get stuck in it, they remain there. Other people go through, many other versions of it. Here's the very interesting question that I actually have been getting a bit lately. And I know you and I have talked about this in the past as well, but as a professional in this, do you get hit by entities? Do you get hit by quote unquote implantations or negative energies? And if you do, how does it work? What's it like?
No,
What's the
I
process
don't
for
get
you?
hit anymore. I get exposed. you know,
Oh, how so? How so?
because if there's something dark on the outside that can touch me, there's something that I'm not paying attention to on the inside, and I have to follow it back so that it can, get released. And like this is one of the big things that's happening right now in my life. There's a lot of really uncomfortable emotions that are going on, and uncomfortable emotions they're not bad. They're just really, really uncomfortable. And some of them are so uncomfortable that they're painful. But it doesn't mean that I have to fight it, that I have to try to get rid of what's happening right now. And yeah, it does draw in some stuff when you're feeling down in the dumps for that day. And it's really easy, especially at the level of work that I've been doing for a while, to recognize this. But at the same time, it's almost like we shine the light that we feel inside. And so if we're shining such a bright, ecstatic, excited light because we're just on our game and we're rocking and rolling, we are shining a beautiful light around us. Light beings can find that. We can shine it so brightly that other people around us, they feel it and they're lifted by it too. If we're not feeling so good, we start maybe having a little bit of light coming out here, but this might be like, and it can draw something in on that level. And it's when we start fighting that's the problem, because I've really found a space of just absolute neutrality with this level right here, to not only sit inside of my crap emotions and honor them and recognize like I'm really feeling this for a reason. It's not okay for me to try to get rid of it. Let's let this run its course. Let's see what happens in 2 or 3 days. Let's see how I feel. And if I feel this starting to slide downhill, then I'll start pushing on it and I'll start moving and I'll see what I can do. But for the most part, just like with the trauma release exercises at the retreat, you want to let the process play itself out. And sometimes it's really inconvenient. Sometimes it's like, well, I'm trying, I want to do this. I want to do this. Now I got all this work to do. And, and well, soul work is inconvenient. Soul work is inconvenient. And we don't do this because we are trying to fix something. We are doing this because we know that there's something more, and we're just trying to navigate to that space. And it just so happens that on that pathway, we do, quote, fix things, but it was never really something to fix to begin with. It was something that was wrong, so it could bring our attention to it so that we could figure out what right feels like. And this is where a lot of people just get stuck inside of the fight, and I get it. I've been there my entire life. I started martial arts when I was 5, and I beat the crap out of myself and other people up until I was like 25, and like that was the beginning of my, hey, I can actually heal type of a journey, and which is also why as soon as I realized there were implants and entities, I started my war too, which by the way, I lost. Don't go to war. You'll get PTSD.
Right. Oh, Lord. Right. Oh, jeez. Oh man. Oh, yeah, I love that. Thank you. We have a really good question in here.
Mhm.
There's actually 2 of them that we're going to grab. One of them is from Hope, and she said a little while ago, so do we still need to feel empathy for these shadow entities then? What do you think?
So let's try to simplify this as much as we can. Light is easy to create energetically. You can visualize a sun inside of your head, and then you can shine that light in a direction. And that's how you can make light on a mental level shine on the etheric levels. That's only the mental level, because the mind sees, the mind hears, the mind tastes, it touches, it smells. And this is where all of these informations are processed. They might come from the other parts of the body, but this is where that's all happening. And so this from here, if we're only seeing light, we are missing a vast, vast spectrum. And so Emotions that feel light, things that are so beautiful that they literally expand and lift you. You know, joy, love, empathy, compassion. It's not just a feeling. This is a literal light on the etheric levels, on the spiritual level, not the mind level, but the spiritual level. That if you make that laughter, that joy, that empathy, shine that light on that level, if you combine the two, it's so much stronger. It's so much more powerful. You have something tactile. You can move through reality and tangibly touch with it. You can feel this. It goes the same with darkness. A shadow from a mental level just looks like a dark spot. But if we were to say go into an ancient trauma from childhood trauma, like a thing that happened when you were younger that when you look back on and it hurts and you get angry or you get sad around it, that energetically, if you shine light on it, it will look dark.
Yeah.
However, if you go in there and actually touch it, that darkness feels like, oh,
Yeah.
ow,
It's the
and it
pain.
hurts. And that right there, simplified, as above, so below. What happens when we turn on light in a dark room? And not just light that we can see, but
Right.
light that we can feel. And so it's not about feeling empathy for the sake of something that's doing damage. It's about recognizing that frequency that it's feeding on right there is shadow. And I don't care what your brain tries to justify about not feeling empathy for that asshole over there. The bottom line is that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
That hurts. So you have to make something that feels good and it doesn't hurt. And that's what we bring there. And sometimes it's empathy. Me personally, I prefer innocent laughter, like very innocent young children laughter, like that innocent, I'm playing and there's nothing that's going to stop me from enjoying myself the best I possibly can.
Yeah.
That mixed with light and tingling vibration moved into a space of shadow. Not only are you A, turning off that mental shadow, but B, you're bringing in a clean emotion into a space that's holding on to darkness. And these entities are the exact same thing. It's not just that they're doing this because they're mean and evil. They only appear that way because they don't know any emotions that would appear as benevolent or generous or kind. They only know shadow in every essence of that word. And so for us to go in and actually fix it, unless, you know, you go in there and blow it up, which it's possible and it does work, but it's nowhere near as easy as just simply creating something that feels beautiful, like an energy, like a jewel or a fruit of laughter, of love, of empathy and compassion, and making this as most beautiful and pristine as you possibly can, and then freely offering it. You know, sometimes you have to go a little bit further than freely offering and be like, nope, nope, come on,
Shove
take it.
it down your
you know,
throat, you know?
sometimes you gotta like you've taken too much free will. You don't get a choice in this, buddy, but I'm not trying to hurt you. I promise, you know? And that's where it starts to happen because as soon as they feel something that is not the aggression directed at them, they don't have a platform to retaliate against. And if suddenly they're forced to expand into a space to where it's like, all I've ever felt my entire life is hatred and desperation and aggression, and suddenly I'm feeling laughter, I'm out. I'm not doing this. I want more. And that's what happens because we're not here just to help the people. Star Seeds didn't come here just to help the people that are stuck in this situation. We came here to help everybody.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your perspective on it. I will just very, very briefly share mine on that, which is it is similar in a number of ways. I have found that this year in particular, though, and maybe you've been through this phase as well, it has become very clinical. It is almost as if I am in an operating room. I am in some form of a clinical atmosphere, and there's not even an emotional acknowledgement. There's simply a boom. For some cases, for me, that works even better than sliding into the emotional acknowledgement of it. But I think what it is really is an example of how there's sort of a frequency base within each practitioner will work. And some people will work within the emotional frequencies of the body. Other people will work within the anatomical channels. I know one of the things you were doing at a certain stage was a much more galactic, almost like you were moving on a much more, like you were moving
I
in.
still do, but I layer it. It's like that galactic level, the solar
Right.
system level, the Earth level, the physical level, and it's like you can lens through all of them.
Totally, which is one of the things that I have appreciated about your work, in the sense that some people will move into a galactic level, and then other people, maybe like me, were like, I'm going to go down into this wormhole inside your, whatever it is, inside your spleen chakra. But each of us will have our own method of working in there. And for me, it's become very, very clinical, which kind of leads us to the next question. There's just a couple more, and then we're going to do a little bit of energy work. I know we've been having you talk a lot, but what have you, and this is an interesting corner turn, get ready. One of the early stages kind of things that like you and I had shared a lot in common was just the phenomenon of, ET activity and ET experiences. And, we've been to, contact in the desert, dimensions of disclosure. A huge part of our journey as practitioners and beings has been in exploring and understanding and experiencing what we call extraterrestrial energy, whether that be in the sessions that we're doing and the people that we're working with that are at times oppressed by that energy, at times just affected by it. And so, just the extraterrestrial presence has been a factor for each of us. How has that changed for you? Has it changed? Is that still part of your experience? Tell us anything you can about just the ET energies in your life. What's going on?
So, especially with everything that's going on right now, I'm really trying to focus more back into me, trying to bring more of my energy to center so that I can, really just kind of spread out my own foundation again. And I've been really trying to pull away from outside connection lately. But the problem is that when you start enough internal activation, you go out, and then there's things out there already. So I've been running into this really odd catch-22 to where I've been noticing more activity than ever before, but I'm not engaging with it. And I think they're starting to actually get impatient with me. I saw some really crazy stuff in the sky last night. There was all kinds of lights that were showing up and disappearing and flashing in, flashing out, and then helicopters and airplanes that were trying to figure out what was going on there. Um, what it feels like is there's a critical threshold resonance that is opening right now. The sun is starting to activate in a much, much stronger level. We're starting to get solar system radiation that is vibrating on a galactic level, that's starting to vibrate all the way down to Earth. We're starting to get it into our solar system, or into our atmosphere. We're starting to get it going down through the actual planet. Excuse me. The water in particular. So the water where the clouds are the closest to the atmosphere, like right at that level right now, it's getting vibrated in a way that when it falls back down to Earth, which actually there's a lot of spraying going on recently because of this, and you can see it. You'll see like little rainbow clouds like really, really high up in the sky, and then they'll come and spray it, and then it'll turn the clouds rainbow and then gray. But that's what's happening. There's a lot coming in, and I don't think that this is just extraterrestrial activity. I think that this is like a solar system waking up type of an activity. And when you have that type of an activity, it's easier for things that are based in plasma, things that are based inside of light frequencies to interact there, because there's just a lot more. And we're really looking at the beginning of the upswing of the light dominance on this planet, and it's uncomfortable and it's going to get messy, but we're heading to a really beautiful space. So we just got to hold on to it.
Thank you. I agree as well. There's some sort of a strange uptick. However, I will say also, as an experiencer myself, it seems as though the methods and the ways and the understandings around what we once defined as extraterrestrial experiences has fundamentally changed. And it's funny, a few moments ago, you were like, well, it's kind of happening all the time now. And I don't even really know, I just see it's there. Oddly enough, that's been a thing for me with respect to just not even so much stuff in the sky. It's just almost as if when I'm doing sessions, and I know you and I have talked about this, I think, in the past as well. It's like you'll be doing a session with someone, and it's like you'll look right or left in this internal space, and there's like this being, or there's something, or there's some frequency, or in certain cases, it's like a person or a being or an energy, and there's no body, and it is the most unmistakable thing. It's like you will know there's someone here. There's no question. And it seems to me that one of the things that's occurring is that we are experiencing what we once understood as a quote unquote extraterrestrial energy as something that is now reaching us in a different way. It's no longer a process by which, the Anshar bus comes and picks you up in the backyard after school and takes you to, like the moon to get your brain wiped. It's nothing like that anymore. Although that is one of the fundamental experiences for some people in this realm. What's really happening is that we are in constant contact, constant telepathic interfacing with a host of beings, a host of things. And so for me, it's just kind of been, one of the factors of my world. But and this is kind of where I was going with the question. It's a long winding road. But once again, as a person who does this as a professional, how might those who are also doing a similar thing, how could they get in touch, with those other elements of themselves, their ET soul families, whoever's out there? Do you have any advice or comments on that?
Yeah, I do. There's first things first, you got to make sure who you're talking to. So I consider this my galactic handshake. I create a big old giant laughing bubble of incredibly clean feeling energies, and then I just surround them in it. And things that are not on the level, you'll see them trying to put like something up in the way or sneak around behind it, and they'll never make eye contact with you. But when you're making sure that you're making your handshake known, it's like, this is who I am. Hi. Like it's really easy for things if you're not doing this every time. And I don't care if you've interacted with something a billion times. Each time it's like, hi. This is how I greet people. Hi. So first and foremost, definitely make sure what you're actually communicating with. If it does turn out to be dark, don't worry about it. Like, it's super easy to clean these things out. You just make yourself so bright that they can't stand being around you. And you do that by turning on the light, the things that feel good. So one of my big awakenings actually happened the night after my oldest daughter was born. And my son was in the crib at the foot of my bed, and he was going to sleep, and I was listening to him as I was going to sleep. And then the next thing you know, right in front of this 14, 15 foot tall being made out of pure golden sunlight. And it was one of the most exhilarating, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot you. Oh, come here. Like it was such a joyful reunion. And that's what I remember at the beginning of it. And then we sat and talked for like 3 hours, and I don't remember any of the conversation. But at the end of it, he tells me, well, you're not going to remember, Eric, but it's time to wake up. And I said, no, I don't want to. I need to remember. And he reached down and he boop right on my forehead. And I slammed bolt upright in bed. And it felt like my whole forehead was gone. And it was just expanded out into the universe. And like, it was crazy. And that was the first big activation that I ever had. Come to find out, that's me from the future. And I would have totally said that's a multidimensional extraterrestrial. But it was me. And so like there's a lot of this that's going on to where it's almost like we're coming back to give ourselves reminders, to help ourselves wake up through time. And so oftentimes this is why you'll find people who, it's almost like they know something is going to happen. Like last night, I felt weird, like I knew something was going on. And so I went and I sat outside on the porch, and sure enough, 10 minutes later, we got those crazy lights that are starting in the sky. Like I just knew. And it's designed to not only remind you of who you are, but it's designed to create like a little pocket of resonance that you can, even if you're thinking back on it from 10, 15 years in the future, how you felt right there is still real. Just like trauma, you can hold on to trauma 10 or 15 years. Why can't you hold on to something beautiful too? And that's a gateway. That's a space that you can look back on. You can say, that felt this right here. And you can reach back through time, touch it, and then, oh, there it is, and bring it in right here, right now, and then spread it through now, right into this space, right into this energy. And that's what these are for. We're trying to wake ourselves up, and we're just walking each other home. That's all this really is.
So we're encountering other versions of ourselves, the many elements of the fractalized versions of us. Honestly, that's similar to, honestly, the first time I ever perceived what I understand as an extraterrestrial being was a similar situation. A lot of people heard me talk about it, so it'll just take a second, you guys. But, I was doing a meditation. You've already heard this one. And, right as I hit the crown chakra, I was face to face with a gigantic praying mantis. And it was just like you were saying, it was as if he was proud of me. Mm-hmm. It was as if he loved me. It was as if they were happy to see me. And of course, the human mind, just like you're saying, is like, what? Oh, and he turned into a boy. He turned into an actual physical being right there in front of me. And it was like even that boy was smiling and beaming like, yes. And then, and there was a whole exchange. There was a whole exchange. They gave me their name. He told me his name was Ezekiel, brother Ezekiel. And they were gone. And then, who knows? Just like you, it's like, I don't know what was shared in that. I can tell you that, the events and the things that took place in both of our lives after stuff like that, it's almost as if, even if that was, let's just say on some level, Eric, even if it was some memory implant or some, diversionary piece of your consciousness that needed to have a wild experience so that you would create a change, even if it was that, what happened afterward fundamentally altered our lives and other people. So it's like, you know,
Exactly.
yeah,
I can't subjectively say anything is real, honestly.
right.
This all might be a figment of my imagination. I might be in a coma dream right now, and this is all something that my sensory input is creating. Because how many times have we had dreams that were so real you wake up and are confused that you're not experiencing what happened? And like, this is something that we have to recognize, is that the only thing that you can truly prove is real is you. And this is where it starts to get really kind of crazy, because I mean, we all do exist, but I mean, the only thing in my universe that's real is me, and I'm just interacting with a bunch of other universes, one named Matt. We got a whole bunch of people here that we're interacting with, and you are all your own individual universe together, and you're the only thing that's real inside of it. And so this is where it's really crazy when we come and interact inside of these spaces, because there's no telling what truly is real. Because if you truly believe something to the point that it is real, you have fundamentally shifted reality.
Totally.
And
Enough people
this is what's
believe.
so crazy about all of it.
Totally. Okay. Thank you for that. Get ready. I've been dying to ask this question. Everybody knew it was coming. Um, what do you think about the secret space program right now? But that was such an entry gateway for so many
Okay.
people in our community. What do
Yeah.
you think is going on? I'm gonna because I know that was a question out of nowhere, but I'm gonna preface this with this. What I have observed recently, because there's a lot of people suddenly, and big people suddenly are like, oh, I just remembered yesterday. Turns out I'm in the secret space program.
Just
Oh my
remembered.
Lord. Turns out I'm in this program, guys. Guess what? It's becoming a very, very interesting thought form experiment. And one of the things that I've noticed is that it is both real and it is also a very close timeline that each of us has an element of ourselves currently existing on. Because it's one of the primary gateways that people often find my work and probably yours in a certain way through the halls and the associations and the frequencies within that early stage thing. Has your view changed on it? What do you think? What's your view on that?
So, well, I'm actually a part of the secret space program.
I had a feeling. I knew you're like a general in Solar Warden, right? Yeah.
Oh
I
God.
had a
Okay,
feeling.
so pretty much what was going on. This is something that I remember reading the stories, hearing the things, and like, I want to meet these people,
Totally.
and I didn't actually realize I had a connection to any of this until I was God. What was that game I was playing? Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And in that game, you have to swim from air pocket through the cave to another air pocket. And like they've got like the countdown and the music going on. And I get to like this second air pocket and I have to put my controller down because I'm like starting to freak out. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, I'm not like, and I'm sitting here looking at my thoughts, and my thoughts are completely calm, but my body is going ballistic on me. And so I just kind of paused it and I sat back and I breathed through it for a little bit. I'm like, all right, I think I'm good. And then I turned it back on and I dove back underneath the water. And as soon as I dove under the water and the shadow from the cave closed around me, I lost it. And I started shaking. I laid down in the trauma release position. I just crazy seizures on the floor. Like, and I'm sitting there and I'm going through it like, what is happening here? And I'm trying to breathe it out. I'm trying to release it. And I'm feeling this pocket of tension, like in my lower abdomen, like right on either side of my spine. And I'm trying to get these muscles to let go. And then I felt the right one just completely release. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling myself inside of this blue liquid that like I'm breathing in, and I can't stop breathing it in, and I'm choking, and like it was horrendous. And I kept on like getting kicked out of that memory, out of that space. It was just too much for me. It was just too overwhelming. And it took me almost 2 days to actually get into it. And I mean, I was like a wreck for 2 days. Like I was in like almost a full blown like shutdown. And I finally get in there and I start breathing through it and I separate so that I can sit back and watch it and feel the emotion going on over there, but so that I can actually just, what is happening here? And I'm watching myself inside of this metal tank. Like there's this metal on the outside, and then there's like this glass window, and it's filling up with this blue liquid. And I'm starting to like have these memories come back. Like they were trying to do something to where I would freak out to the point that they could start to pull pieces of my consciousness and create like an alter, like a shadow type of a consciousness in there, like like a Manchurian candidate type of a thing. And they couldn't break me. Like they could not make me lose my sense of who I was until they figured out like it wasn't drowning. It was drowning enclosed inside of something. And so then I tried to hold my breath as long as I could, and I finally couldn't do it anymore. And as soon as I breathed in, it's like they froze time on me. And I got stuck inside of that space for what felt like years. And I mean, it was awful, man. It was like seriously something that I could tell this wasn't my physical body that had gone through that, but just the memory of that, the feeling of that, it was causing me to have some serious shutdowns that I had to start cleaning out. And so I finally got that calmed down and I start going into this like, what the heck is going on? And I follow back and I've got all of these memories. And it started when I was like, I believe it was like third or fourth grade. There was like this government Toyota Corolla that came and picked me and this other kid to Ridge up. And he was the smartest kid in the class. Um, they took us and they asked us a whole bunch of weird questions. Like one of them I specifically remember was, what does purple feel like? And, it was just like really odd questions. And I remember trying to tell my mom something about that, and like it just nothing ever happened of it. And I remember a couple of times like that went on, but they started coming back with these memories, and it was like they were having me do brain exercises and things that, like from a kid in normal, elementary school, it just didn't make sense.
Mm.
And like I understand now what was going on, but as I got through all of this, I'm sitting here like it had to have been a 20 and back. They took me from the school, like it had to have been this, it had to have been that. But as I test it, as I go into it, I'm getting this huge no response each time. Like that's not me. And and so I about maybe a year and a half, I was exploring this, trying to figure it out. And I never talked about it because there was a whole bunch of people, like you said, coming out like, oh, I'm part of the secret space program. And like at that point in time, I was feeling like it was almost like a meme, like it was like, oh yeah, I'm part of the SSP
Basically,
too, and like it was one of those things where I just kind of sat on it and I didn't really say anything about it. But I finally got to the point. It was when I started breaking through and I started working with other versions of myself, like actual physical versions of Eric in a different timeline, in a different
there we go.
multidimensional reality. And it was when I started breaking through on that level, that's when we started cleaning out the different layers of Eric. And so we had the spearhead, it was me and the other 12 versions of me that were pushing, that were doing this energy work, that we all kind of touched each other at the same time and like had a big, whoa, holy crap, what was that type of a moment. And then we recognized we had the moment together and it was really funny. And then we all came back and started working. Anyways, so like there was these layers and we were the ones lifting everybody up. And so like you could find all the other layers, like all the really good versions of me and like all the very benevolent versions, and then like the more neutral versions, and then the nastier versions, and then the version of me I wanted to be, the Navy SEAL, and that I got kicked off of on this timeline. And we started going through and cleaning out all of these. And as I was going into the military aspect, I started seeing me in the secret space program. And that was when it made the biggest aha. That trauma was so strong that it bled through. It bled through into the DNA, it bled through into the soul psyche, but it was not me in this physical body. And honestly, I don't think our physical reality has this stuff. Our physical reality is like the very base. It's like the round spot that everything branches off of. And you might have things that are crazy over here, like like a Running Man apocalypse type scenario. But it's a multidimensional facet of the seed, which is where we are. And the seed, as you have concentrations of collective that start to get stronger and stronger on a positive or a negative level, they fracture off and they split a new world or a new earth into that space. And this is almost 100% what I'm certain that the secret space program is inside of. I truly do not believe that we have Earth operatives that are out and about right now. There's a lot of extraterrestrial presence in our solar system, and there's a lot of extraterrestrial presence that's here on our planet. I don't think that we're actively out there like that in this reality. I don't think that this reality has those wild jumps where, you know, people are flying around like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or, you know, like the Solar Warden. Like those wild jumps right there, I think those are fringe uh, realities, and I think those people who exist inside of those are bleeding through and bringing that information back here today, which is how all information gets here. All stories, all, you know, all things that people make up, quote unquote. It starts from some place that's actually real that they exist inside of, and then they bring it in to tell it here inside of the neutral space.
Oh, I love it. Whoa, rad. Okay, thank you. Thank you for explaining that with such detail and for giving us like really your view on that. I agree on a number of levels. And I guess I would start by saying, and you know, since for everyone that may or may not have already figured this out, one of the most magical things about this physical human lifetime that we're in is that we are in a stage of existence on Earth in which all of these realities are coinciding in the same place. All of the contrasting madness in the AI timelines and the organic new Atlantis and all of those things, and even the, you know, the crazy stagnated, you know, like viral control system timeline, they are all here in the now. And what I've observed is that a number of people are organically becoming, or excuse me, discovering those many aspects of self. And I think because of the way our collective consciousness is structured right now, many people are coming into contact with a version of themselves on a fourth density or an alternate physical Earth plane right next to us. It's like right here with us. That looks very much like what we would call that secret space program reality. And yet at the same time, and you know, I don't know, maybe this is where you and I differ, or maybe we don't. It also appears as though there is a tremendous amount of physical activity also taking place, but it looks like it's something that is not so much linked within the halls of government that we are being told that it is, and that it is something that is operating outside of what we
It's
would
like they're
call our.
trying to claim something. It's like they're trying to step up and say, "This is us." Of course, this
Yeah,
is us.
actually, it's a natural progression,
Hmm.
part of a discovery of the elements of ourselves. And anyway, I think that's also what you were saying. Maybe I just rephrase it in a weird way, but
Yeah. Well, you know, I didn't say that at all. I think you're right, though. I think you're 100% correct. I think that a lot of the obfuscation and the distraction that's happening nowadays is specifically to keep a system going that these guys who are running it only see it as physical. But you know, they're creating a physical foundation for a multidimensional, multi-species type of a platform to exist. And we have so much more benevolent than we do malevolent. But the problem is that, you know, we're all sitting around trusting the plan. We haven't gotten up and said collectively, the hell with this, get off our planet. We're not doing it. No, you know, we haven't done that yet. So
yeah, thanks. I
until
agree.
then, until then, we just gotta keep on working on ourselves. And eventually what'll happen, you work on yourself enough, you can't help but start going outside. You'll start seeing stuff out there and you'll recognize like, hey, there's a niche for me to fill right here, or hey, there's information that people need right here that they don't have. Or, you know, like, oh my goodness, everything that I've been working on, like this fits perfectly in this space, and all I have to do is step up into it right now, right here, and I can share this light too. And that's how this spreads. You can't shut the light down. The darkness is, it's all, you know, straight lines and angles, and even if the angle's very very small, water can still go through it. And that's
Totally.
what the light is. The water is the light. The liquid is the water, and everything else is a sieve trying to keep the water out. But you
Totally.
can't do that. It just doesn't work. You can block it for a little bit, but you know, it'll find a way. It always will.
Thank you. Be like water.
Be like
We're
water.
gonna check some of our comments. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. There's another portion of this talk that we did a little bit earlier. You guys can find that on Patreon at the Blue Flame Collective. You can also find Eric's work. For those of you guys that are watching on YouTube, hello. You missed the first part of this. We can't air it on YouTube, but you can watch this part. And so you can find us on Patreon, but you can find Eric at unleashingnaturalhumanity.com. He does sessions there. He does coaching, right? What else? What else are you doing right now? Because I noticed there has been somewhat of an organic shift in your work that you're doing. You made some shifts. You know, a little bit of an announcement recently. How has your work been changing?
So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm shutting down about 3/4 of my session availability. So I still do have clients, but I'm trying to simplify, trying to slow it down, and just more time for me, more time for me to start writing, start getting more projects done. And what I'm doing more than anything is I'm going back and I'm cutting and editing a lot of my old workshops, so I could get those up on the website too, because there's a lot of people who still wanted like the ancestral clearing workshop, the implant and parasite workshop, the frequency explorations that I did. And so I have to go back and I have to cut and edit all of those. So those are all going to be up on the website too. But pretty much what I'm trying to do is every single thing I know how to do, I'm trying to put into guided meditation form. That way you can just walk through it. It comes with like this is what this is. This is how you do it. This is what you're looking for inside of the meditation. And then I just recorded something to music that I played. So, I'm a little bit biased on it because I made it from front to back, but like these are awesome. So
I love it. Nice. Thank you. So it does seem like there has been a bit of an organic shift for a lot of us that are in certain wavelengths of service. There's a period in which a lot of us have shifted more to instruction. That's been honestly, it overtook our thing this year. As soon as we announced training, it was like the world, some timeline opened up and people came out of nowhere. And so there's a lot of organic transitions happening within that space. And so, yeah, thank you for sharing this stuff with us. We're going to do a little bit of energy work today. We're going to keep it short because I know we've been hanging out for an hour, and we're going to do more of these in the future. So in the meantime, give yourself a breather. I'm going to make a couple announcements, guys. First off, thank you for watching us once again. Please do subscribe on YouTube. I'm not a person that courts followers. I'm not a person that's out there, jumping out. Please subscribe, find our thing. The ones that are meant to will find it. But if you enjoy the content that you find on this channel, please do subscribe. Eric also has a channel as well. I believe it's Unleashing Natural Humanity on YouTube as well, where he's going to be posting some of his work that's coming up as well. And so we encourage you guys to check that out. But also, Eric and I are going to be appearing at a conference later on this year. It's called Camp Disclosure, and it's in August. It's August 26th through the 30th in Helen, Georgia, over here in the US. And so we're both going to be appearing there, as is a number of other people. I think Barry Littleton, Geraldine Orozco, another important experiencer, as is Barry. A number of other people. Eric, you're going to be there, as is myself. And so you guys can check out campdisclosure.com for those of you guys that just want to come down and be a part of a really interesting event out here. I think it's in the hills of Georgia. And so you can check that out. You can find me on rememberyourmission.com. But if you're interested in taking part in more of Eric's classes and the stuff that he's bringing to this multidimensional soul group, please check out his YouTube as well as that website. And yeah, in the meantime, is there anything else you want to mention? Anything you want to talk about real quick just before we do a little bit of activation? I know we've had you talking for the last hour, so sorry.
No worries. I mean, that's what I do, man. I just talk and do stuff.
Yeah. Is there anything important that you would think people need to know? Because we have a lot of new people that find this channel. What do you think?
Definitely. A lot of the times when you're starting to do this type of energy work and you're trying to create concepts inside of you that you need words to tell you what the concept is, don't keep thinking words. Start trying to tune into the feeling that makes you want to say thank you, or trying to create the sensation of light illuminating inside of you with the sensation in there. Words are a construct of man, and the light language levels are all outside of words. And so, we can look at somebody who speaks like Hebrew and English and Swahili, and those three different people right there, they would say a different word for the same feeling of excitement. And it's that feeling of excitement which is the core. That's the Rosetta Stone. So when you do this type of energy work here, don't try to think with your mind. Try to create an actual sensation and then move that.
Yeah. Move the sensation, the emotion. Yeah, I feel you. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. Well, thanks for hanging out today. We're going to kind of leave it open for the next few moments. If you feel comfortable taking the group through a process, for those of you guys that are watching out there, and honestly, I have no idea how many people are on YouTube. Thank you to the YouTube squad. Zoom does not have a really good YouTube interface. So thank you for those of you guys watching. I'm over here looking at you on another screen. Thank you for being here. We're going to just do a little bit of an activation. One of the things we know about the shows that I do is that we don't really leave people hanging. I'm not one of those people that's like, let's give you a bunch of info and bounce, make of it what you will. What we do is also give you guys just a little bit of energy. We are sharing our frequency on such a great level. at this stage of our journey that just by hearing the voice and experiencing the vibrations of us and just this group, and also Eric assists other people in their awakening. And so that said, if you feel comfortable, we're going to kind of give it up to you for maybe just the next 5 or 10 minutes, however long you need. And so,
All right,
yeah.
let's do it.
So I'm
Okay.
gonna pull off the screen for this one, you guys. Eric's gonna be here. I'm gonna pull myself off, and then I'll come back when you're
All
done.
right.
There we go. Boom.
Boom. All right. So if you haven't worked with me before, you'll know that I always simplify it as much as I can. And we always start with simple belly breathing. And what this does is when you relax your pelvic floor, relax the tummy, the chest, and the throat, and when you inhale, you try to expand every part of your body from the front, the sides, the back. That right there is a simple inhalation that's the opposite of fight or flight. Because when you're in fight or flight, everything's tight and you've got a very shallow, forceful chest breath. And so what we're doing is simply the opposite. So let's get 5 or 6 deep belly breaths. And the trick for the exhale is when you breathe out, don't push it out, don't hold on to it, completely relax. So it's kind of like this. Deep breath in. Full relaxation. Really focus on expanding your body as much as you can on your inhale, and letting go, relaxing as much as you can on your exhale. This starts to open up a space for your nervous system to feel soft, still. We're going to immediately jump from this stillness into an emotional activation. It's very simple if you understand how. Your body responds very distinctively to specific emotions. Sadness, anger, those are really easy to see. People get tight, they get agitated. But joy, love, excitement, your body responds to that as well. The easiest one to recognize when somebody's feeling good is this right here. Big old smile. And this automatic reaction, we can reverse engineer this right back into that stillness. So as you breathe in, I don't want you to think about it. I want you to feel the smile from your face physically pulling back into your body, almost like you're creating a wind that's echoing that laughter sensation. Like you're trying to make that feeling that makes you want to laugh spark by pulling it in backwards. Let's get 5 or 6 breaths here. Really relax on that exhale. Feel how the shoulders drop, how the chest lets go. Inhale, pull in that smile. And relax, really starting to pay attention to the way as you breathe in, there's sensations moving, there's something happening. As you breathe in, pull it into that space. Exhale, start to make this softness inside of you bubble open, almost like you're blooming a flower made out of laughter. Last 3 breaths. Make all of these sensations the strongest you can. And relax. Feel all of your muscles going completely loose, even stronger. Pull it in. And relax. Last one, best one yet. And let it go. And as you breathe in, let go. Simple breath. Not trying to make it deep, not trying to move anything. Just pay attention to how you feel. We've only been here for about 2 minutes breathing, but already the body feels much more open, much more calm. There's a stillness that's echoing through. And it goes beyond just a physical sensation. Watch, lift your shoulders up. Feel the way that your body moves. It's softer. It feels like everything has more lubrication. Watch this. Pay attention to your mind. Go in and try to observe the noise or the stillness that you have going on inside of your mind right now. Give yourself like 10 seconds. See? It's much more calm, much more quiet, much more still. We didn't go in here trying to fight anything. We didn't look at that thought form that you didn't like and yell at it that I don't like you, go away. All we did is focus on creating something beautiful. Thoughts are the smoke to the trauma fire. And if you have a mind that never goes silent, that is always noisy, there's something hurting inside, even if you're numb to it. And a simple, smiling breath, it can show you where things are not smiling, where you're holding on to those spaces. All you have to do is exhale. Let it go. Stop trying to fight what you don't want. Breathe deep with what you do. And relax and let what you don't enjoy fall right out of you, almost like you're an hourglass draining sand. Be gentle. Be still. Watch how powerful that is. Thank you. Fun, quick little exercise right there. Super simple, super easy. You can do this anywhere, anytime, anywhen. And this really gives you that emotional ability to respond instead of react. And the world needs that. Oh God, the world needs that. Be gentle, be soft, and recognize that the craziness that we see outside of us, oftentimes it's just triggers under the surface and we're only seeing the surface. If that trigger wasn't activated, if there was happiness, if there was health, if there was joy inside of that space, craziness wouldn't happen. It doesn't mean that we have to be doormats. It doesn't mean that we have to condone behavior like that. But understanding makes it much, much easier to navigate. And this is a very simple, very easy technique that, well, puts the power back in your hand. You've got the tool here. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you very sincerely. Oh, where's my camera? There it is. Boom, we're back. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Eric, for the silence. Really, for I felt big vagus nerve response there. It's always fun because I will do these on live streams from time to time, and we'll come in here and do this, just some form of energy work. And you're the first person that I've had in here in the Patreon group, honestly, within this whole thing since we have done our events last year. And so it was good to be able to experience it from another person's perspective. Thank you for the silence. I mean that. And also thank you for showing up, for hanging out over this past hour. I know we've been having you talk a lot. For those of you guys, once again, those of you guys interested in Eric's work, you can check him out at unleashingnaturalhumanity.com. And you can join both me and Eric this August 26th through 30th at Camp Disclosure. You can check out campdisclosure.com. I think there's only in-person tickets there as far as I can tell. And so it's an in-person event. And so we would love to meet you. For those of you guys that are interested and can make it down to Georgia, both Eric and myself are going to be doing a bit of a presentation. And also, I think you're doing a group healing there as well. I think we both are. We're doing a group thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got 2 Qigong sessions that are scheduled, so I can walk everybody through how to not just, activate the energy like this, but then move it through the body.
Yeah, I pray that you guys will. If you're one of the people out there that are available and you want to be a part of it, and just an incredibly accelerated frequency of healing and activation, as a person that has been to Eric's retreats, I think 4 years in a row, right?
Yeah.
It has been a defining factor, and I'll just say, okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna get weird. I'm genuinely bummed that we're not doing it this year, because for me, it's been a
Me
massive
too.
healing journey. It has been
Me
something
too.
that I even feel emotional. Oh, it has been something that I look forward to in my life every year. So there's going to be more of those in the future, but stay in touch with Eric, you guys, and you're going to see some really cool things. He's been a really big part of my journey. And so anything else you want to mention before we switch over? Anything else?
Just thank you, like all of you. You're also very welcome. Like this is what I do. You know, we're way more powerful than we think we are, and it's my honor to share it. It really truly is. So you're very welcome, and thank you. Like I feel it. So thank you.
Thank you, my friend. It's been a good time talking to you. So feel free to hang out with us if you want. We're gonna do a really quick thing, you guys. I know we've been here for a while. We're just gonna do a really quick thing, and what we're actually gonna be doing, everyone, is giving you a mantra. We're gonna be giving you an actual capsule phrase that we use in the School of Multidimensional Intuition, and also within the healing frequencies that I use. And so, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and thank you. We're gonna pull out of there. Thank you, Eric. Seriously, everyone, please do check out unleashingnaturalhumanity.com. In the meantime, everyone just settle in for a few moments if you can. We've been talking about a lot of stuff here today. I saw some questions in the chat. Yes, for those of you guys that want to check out the link on Patreon, we're going to post the whole version of this. There are some uncensored topics that we couldn't talk about in the beginning. You can imagine what they are. We just talked about it a bit in the first part, and that was an exclusive that we just kind of did for people that wanted to show up. And so you guys can check that out later. It's going to be posted in Patreon. But in the meantime, we're just going to give you a couple items to take with you. One of the most important and helpful things for me this past few months has been a energetic tool known as capsule phrases. It's another form of mantras, but what's been happening with the multidimensional contacts that I've been receiving is they started giving us actual phrases and words and what are essentially syllabic activational phrases. It allows us to create a phrase in our mouth and actually utter a frequency of multidimensional energy that is essentially a scalar piece of technology, a scalar technology that the body emits. And so what we're going to be doing today is a very short exercise in which we're going to be using 3 tones, 3 capsule phrases. And I'm going to tell you what they are and why we're using it now. The first one is pronounced ah, va, me. Ah, va, me. I'm going to put it in the chat in Patreon. I'm so sorry for those on YouTube, but some of the people in our group are going to be able to copy this over. Zoom does not give me a good YouTube interface. So it's ava me. I'm going to put that in the chat on Zoom. If one of you guys can just copy and paste this over onto YouTube, that'll be very helpful. But what we're going to be doing is activating our third eye on just a little bit of a manual level. A lot of people in this world will come to me as, just to help them open up multidimensional channels in the body. And one of the most effective tools we've used to actually help people open up energy centers are these capsule phrases. And so last year, in the past couple of years, we've been given a number of phrases, and you guys can use this in your meditations, in your practices. You can use it in your healings when you send energy into other people's bodies. So we're going to be using ah, va, me in a few moments. The other capsule phrase we're going to be giving you guys today is helpful for opening up the navel chakra. Now, some of you guys out there, you already heard of the navel chakra, but some of us haven't. And what we're discovering in fourth density is that every organ, most of the primary elements of the human body actually have chakras within them. And the navel chakra is one of the hidden gateways to truly opening up your third eye. In fact, for most people, it's one of the doorways that never opens. And so therefore they never actually experience what is a truly open third eye. And I want to let everyone know that when your third eye is open, it is not a lens through which you're going to be seeing all kinds of beings and aliens and stuff like that. What you're actually doing is opening up an internal visual space within you. And so Ava Me helps open up the light in the eyes. And here's the capsule phrase for your navel chakra. You can use this in your meditations, and it'll help you just to further create a visual, intuitive space. Get ready. Here it comes. Du, chi, ro. I'm going to put it in the Zoom chat. If you guys could copy it over onto YouTube, that'll help as well. It's du, chi, ro. And so what we're going to be doing here is we're just going to be using those 2 capsule phrases today. We're going to be using them 3 times each up at the third eye, and then 3 times each right down at the navel chakra. This is going to be a very fun experiment for our Patreon group, because usually over the past few months, we've done some Qigong as a warm-up. We've ranted about it through multiple slides and all kinds of stuff. And this time we're going to jump right into it publicly. So what would you experience during such an activation? Well, many of us would experience an opening, a continual silence within the body, but also, here's the best part, just more mental clarity, an ability to perceive energy and truth a little bit differently from the internal visual space. If there's anything that we've done over the past few years in the work that I do, is we have assisted people, ourselves included, in really opening up those senses. Eric is a living example of it as well. And so what we're going to do is take a few moments of breathing, just like we did with Eric. This will be a quick process, but I would like you guys to allow yourself to vibrate. We're going to be using these 2 capsule phrases, and it's very much like this. And so we're going to be doing that 3 times, and then we're going to move down to that navel chakra, which is where the real action comes in, guys. And that's do chiro. So avame and do chi ro, as I pull my microphone over to the actual camera. And so thanks for hanging out, you guys. I know it's been a long one. We're going to settle in for just a quick few moments. If you're not driving, you can close your eyes. For everybody on YouTube, you'll be like, how did I get into this chat? What are we doing on this strange man's channel? What we're doing is 4th dimensional energy work, and we're helping you open up energy centers in your body. And so you guys are going to experience some fun effects. Let's just settle in. Take a few slow breaths. Eric's warmed us up in a brilliant way, so this will be really easy for everyone here. And we'll just do 3 breaths. We'll take them as one unit, one group. I'll count from 3 to 1, and everybody here is going to take a big breath in. 3, 2, 1. Take that breath in and hold it. Keep holding. And let it all the way out. You're just priming that pump. We just did a bunch of them, so this will be so easy for everyone. You'll be like, we just did it, Matthew. Here we go. One more time. We're going to do this as one unit, one group, one organism. Here we go. Take a deep breath in 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Bring your fingers to your third eye. Keep holding. Tap your third eye. Tap it. And release. Let that breath out of your body. You're getting the idea, you guys. We're going to do one more breath. And as we exhale, I would like everyone here to join me in Avame 3 times in a row. And notice what happens in your third eye. Let's take that breath in together and hold it. Here we go. Deep breath in 3, 2, 1. Tap your third eye. Very good. A little bit of waviness out there. One more breath in. Good job, everybody. I know Zoom cuts the sound sometime. We're going to do it one more time. You can put one finger on the third eye, one finger on the back of your third eye. Yes, it's 2 poles on a battery. Here we go. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And after that tone, watch everyone simply pull that energy out. Good job, everyone, especially if it's your first time and you're like, how did I get on this live stream? What are we doing with energy? We're not done yet. We're going to go one more place in the body, you guys. Let's go all the way down to your belly button. Just bring your hands down there. You're doing really good. We're almost done. Put your hands over that belly button. We're going to really open the navel chakra. And for some of you guys, you'll get a bunch of colors in your eyes. You'll get all kinds of light in your mental space. And that's a really good sign. That means you're doing it right. Sometimes it happens a little bit later. But let's just hold that navel just for a quick moment. You guys are doing really good. Take a slow breath in, and we're going to be using do chi ro in a few moments. And so let's just center the body one more time. We do 3 breaths like a group, one organism, in 3, 2, 1. Hold it. No toning yet. Hold that breath. And release. Make this one like a steam valve, everybody. When you breathe out, it's like you're going. You're letting that balloon inside you deflate. Here comes breath number 2. Let's take that deep breath in. 1 unit, 1 organism, 1 body, 1 frequency. 3, 2, 1. Hold it. And let it out. All the way down to the bottom of the jar. On this third one, everyone, we're going to be vibrating that navel chakra with do, chi, ro. Follow me the best that you can. Here comes breath number 3. 3, 2, 1. Do, chi, ro. Next breath in, keep it rolling. Do, chi, ro. You're getting it, everyone. Here comes number 3. Take that breath in. Vibrate the navel. Do, chi, ro. And when you're ready, you can simply release that energy from the navel or wherever on your body. We always create a gesture of disconnection. For some of you guys that are familiar, sometimes we create a cut, a swish. It's whatever you need. They're 4th density mechanisms and tools that we can use. And so thank you, everyone. Notice the energy in your body. Notice the light in your eyes. We want to thank Eric Rains for being here. We've been through a rapid process here today. Lots of frequencies, lots of ideas, lots of viewpoints. And so thank you, Eric. Thank you, everyone who stumbled into this wild live stream at the end for all this crazy stuff. You had no idea what we were going to do. And here we are. And so thank you. You can also, once again, find Eric on YouTube at Unleashing Natural Humanity. You can also find his website, unleashingnaturalhumanity.com. You can join us next month. We're going to be doing this next month as well with probably a new guest. You can find us at the Blue Flame Collective on Patreon. And we're also going to be broadcasting a little bit of live stuff from another very important gathering, you guys. It's coming up next week. Next week, in fact, I will be there. Where? At the Family of Light gathering in Sedona, Arizona, guys. It's coming up next weekend. You can get a live stream ticket right now at familyoflight.info. And also, we're going to be doing a little bit of live streaming in the Patreon group. And so we're going to be doing that next weekend. But you can find me and Eric at Camp Disclosure in August. And I'm excited to see the beings who are going to make it out there physically. I love you guys. And I'm thankful for everybody in this Patreon group. I think we got about 60 stalwart patrons, multidimensional warriors and beings that keep coming back. We're almost a year in and we keep going. I love you guys very sincerely. And there's more to come. We're going to have another guest next month. And so we'll let you know who it is very soon. In the meantime, you can find this recording, the entire one, in the Patreon group later on. It takes about an hour to process. It'll be in there later. Please subscribe on YouTube. Find us at Remember Your Mission and Unleashing Natural Humanity. In the meantime, I love you guys. I love you, Eric. Thank you for being here, for being part of this family and this journey and this movement on earth. Remember, you guys, we have a choice. It's time to find your mission. And I love you guys. Never give up. We'll see you next month. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.